testified before that House Financial Services Committee. Today's glaring issues: oversight of the federal bailout at AIG and broad new powers that Geithner wants to regulate and potentially take control over American companies. California Republican Kevin McCarthy is a member of that committee and also the House Chief Deputy Whip. Sir, good morning to you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
It's good to have you on today. Give me a better understanding for how this is expected to work. If a company is seen not doing well and not doing well in business, then the government can come in and seize that company. What is that based on, sir?
Well, that's a great fear we have. We have not seen the details. In essence, what the Secretary Geithner is asking to do is become the financial czar, to overlook all companies, to be systemic risk, to say whether a company is doing good or bad, and empower himself to take it over. And I think that brings a great deal of fear, but also the idea that he's changing the topic when we know that the Treasury Department was behind the change of and approving of the bonuses for AIG. I think he's going to get a lot of questions about that first and foremost in committee. All
right, stay on the first topic first, though. Do you like this idea? Do you see some redeeming value in it?
I see some redeeming value from the standpoint of being systemic risk, to be greater transparency to the public to understand what's going on. I have a very hard time with empowering one person to become the financial czar, to oversee within public and just be able to take over a company. I think that's the wrong direction.
Here's what I'm reading between the lines over the past week. Wall Street is bad, investors are bad, the banks are bad, they're screwing all the American people. Just get in line. And now this week, there's a softening of the tone, almost as if the White House and the Treasury Department needs Wall Street and needs these investors and needs these banks to help them get back on track. Your view?
They need the capital. They need those who are sitting on the sidelines with Wall Street who say, I don't want to invest because you're going to control how much I make. I won't make that investment in America. And the one thing that you see with the Treasury now looking at the toxic assets, which we've all said you needed to take care of to make the economy move better, Wall Street's saying, yes, this is the appropriate way to go, but still the fear that if you empower Geithner even further to overtake companies, that they may step back and not have that private partner relationship.
Well, many in Washington, and from our position here in New York, many in Washington have demonized the profession, and some of it rightfully so. Some of the criticism not necessarily in the right place. Here's what's happening in New York. You go out and hire people at some of these big banks and companies that are getting more than $5 billion in bailout money. They're going to say, no way. You're going to tax my income at 90%? Who's going to work at those companies?
Well, nobody's going to work at those companies, and then there's going to limit it. You're not going to get the best and brightest in there. I think what has to happen, we still have to have the private sector. We have to be able to reward good behavior. And I think the whole idea of this taxing issue, which I voted against, it's a punishment system. It's using the tax code to punish, but it also hurts us in the long run to get the best and brightest to be able to go out and reward. I think it's wrong that we reward bad behavior, but the federal government approved the idea of the AIG bonuses coming from the Treasury, and I think from one standpoint, we have to get to the bottom of that before we move forward.
Dagan McDowell, my friend at Fox Business Network, and the woman who has an office right next to mine, so I see a lot of her, and we share ideas and thoughts on this. Last hour, she said, Bill, give them time. This is the program they've been working on, and now it's going to be on the table for all of us to see, and then we'll evaluate it. But I'm interested to hear the language today in this hearing, and also the language tonight from the president during that primetime press conference. So, sir, thank you for your time. Kevin McCarthy, Republican out of California. Thank you, sir. Back to that hearing.